Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I wanted to share my tips and tricks on how to conceive naturally as fast as possible. For those of you guys know my channel and more about me, I am pregnant with my third. This is actually a baby boy due in about 20 weeks or so or less. I wanted to share this with you guys because I know I get this question and let you guys know everything that I do and what I would recommend for first time or even second time or third time moms. This video is also sponsored by Enfamom Prenatal Vitamins in partnership with Walgreens. I have absolutely been loving taking their prenatals throughout this pregnancy, and prenatal vitamins, taking them actually while you're trying to conceive, is so essential for having a healthy pregnancy. And I'm also going to talk about the things that you should be looking at when choosing a good prenatal vitamins. So yeah, let's go ahead and get on with my tips. So like I said, I am pregnant with my third. My first two are girls. They are actually, all of my children are 2 years apart. And as a little backstory, since I know not everybody watching probably has followed my journey, my first child, Annabelle, she's now almost 4 in December. She basically was unplanned. She came out of nowhere. We were engaged, and so we weren't even married yet, but we were engaged and we got pregnant with her, and we had her about almost 4 years ago. So I've learned so much. Obviously, when you have an unplanned pregnancy, you start to think like, how did this happen to me? What could I be doing differently to maybe prevent an unplanned pregnancy in the future? And yeah, you just learn a lot more about your body because you're forced to, which is totally fine. Clearly, we don't regret it. We're all still married, having more kids, but I have learned a lot of things. And then my second child, Scarlett, was born 2 years, or a little less than 2 years after my first one, and she was planned. So we took everything that wasn't supposed to happen with our firstborn, and yeah, we basically made it happen for our second, and we got pregnant on our first try. And with my third, this one, it was still slightly unexpected, but at the same time, I wasn't doing certain things, obviously, as far as prevention and all those fun details that we're going to talk about. And I was doing other things that really just increased our chances of getting pregnant. And while we were really open to having a third child, I thought maybe it would take a little bit more time. Little did I know it happened the first try again. So it's always a shock when you have a baby, even if it is planned, at least it is for me. And I have learned so many things. So the very first tip that I have for you guys is to go off birth control a couple months before you try and get pregnant. So, I mean, I'm gonna be honest and really just spill the beans for everything. I haven't been on birth control since I would think that I was like 20 years old, and I was only on it for a year because it made me crazy and I never tried it again. So obviously I am more of a natural family planner. I mean, once we got married or once we got engaged, I did more of that method. But my point is you really want to like rid your system of anything that is trying to fight the fact that you're, meant to get pregnant. Now, I know that there are a ton of varying opinions on this, but even like for people in my own life, they will go off birth control a month before and get pregnant a month later, and it doesn't really seem to matter. But for a lot of other women out there, I find that they've been on birth control for a really long time. They don't give their bodies enough of a break, and it seems to take longer. So my doctor said that might be a factor, and I did definitely discuss with her like why, it seems to be happening with the first cycle for me, and she says that that's probably a really big determining factor. So the next thing you want to do is honestly something that is probably the most overlooked, but when it really comes down to it, the main thing is you need to be maximizing your potential for just being fertile, being a fertile couple in general. So working with your husband and making sure you're eating like a healthy, balanced diet, maybe avoiding alcohol. My husband and I don't drink at all since having kids for no other reason than we just don't really like it that much, the taste of it. So we're not big drinkers, and we eat a fairly healthy, balanced diet, like vegetables with almost every meal. We like to indulge here and there, but we're always at a pretty healthy, normal weight. We do exercise frequently, whether that means taking walks with a family or playing with the kids at a park every single day. I don't do like crazy HIIT workouts, but normally when I'm not 22 weeks pregnant like I am right now, I'm a pretty active person, and I find that I eat a really healthy, balanced diet. The other thing that really seems to help just have a healthy pregnancy and allow for the baby to get all the nutrients nutrients it needs, even, you know, when you're trying to conceive, is by taking a prenatal vitamin. So like I said, I take the Enfamom prenatal vitamin and mineral supplements. You can get these at Walgreens. They are super accessible, and they're amazing. So the number one reason I like these is because I get really sick during my first trimester, and they're not like crazy huge horse pills that make me want to obviously hurl up everything I just ate or didn't eat, you know, from the day before or that day. So they're really digestible, and I feel like they are something that I can take on the go, and it's not something that I have to worry about, especially because lots of mothers deal with morning sickness in their first trimester. But honestly, besides that, the biggest reason why I like Enfamom prenatals is because they're an advanced prenatal vitamin with DHA that provides essential nutrients for both mom and baby. The most important factor that I look for in a prenatal vitamin, just being a mom that is conscious of, you know, what you're feeding your fetus, is the fact that it has active folate for fetal development. So that is super critical. But I also love it because it has 25% higher calcium than any of the other leading brands on the market. It also has experts recommended omega-3 DHA, and it's in a super easy to take, like I said, soft gel format. So now that I have had 3 kids and I've done like multiple anatomy scans, I just did an anatomy scan for this third baby, and if you have no idea like what that is, you don't have to worry about it now if you're trying to conceive, but it's really important to start taking prenatals even before you conceive, just to help you conceive and help you be healthier, but especially while you're pregnant, because especially with this brand, the fatty acid in the omega-3 really helps support brain development, and yeah, it supports normal early fetal development of brain and spinal cord. So super important. Like I said, it has calcium to help support strong bones. So I take a prenatal even before I get pregnant, and I would highly recommend this one. You can get it at Walgreens or walgreens.com, and I will definitely go ahead and leave the link below for you guys. Okay, so this next one is something that is a little bit more TMI, so I really hope my mom is not watching this, but she probably is, dear Lord. But something that is really critical when it comes to trying to conceive fast is it's all about timing. So like I said, I've never taken the test strips or anything like that, but clearly I have been really on point with timing, because every time I try to get pregnant, I get pregnant that month. So it's really important, and I wrote it down. So the first thing that you want to do when it comes to timing is get an ovulation app. So this is just easier because, let's be honest, we're all on our phones, and you can do some like really old school calendar printed on the wall, but having a calendar that alerts you when you're ovulating just makes it super easy, because life comes at you fast, especially if you have multiple kids already. So I use the Glow app to know exactly when I'm ovulating, and it's interesting because what you're supposed to do when you're trying to get pregnant is abstain from intercourse 3 to 4 days before ovulation, or like your ovulation window, and find your exact day of ovulation. And then this is where it gets a little bit cringy for some of you guys who might be watching, but basically you're supposed to do it the night before you ovulate, I wrote it down, the morning of, the night of, and the morning after ovulation. So I mean, without being super weird, that is a lot of, you know, just partaking in that certain thing. And obviously I don't feel like I did that every single time I conceived my children, but as long as you're trying your best to make an effort to do it during your ovulation window, it is super important, because if you do it any of the other times of month, the likelihood of you actually getting pregnant is like seriously decreased. So that is really my number one tip for getting pregnant, but really you have to be, you know, treating your body healthy, exercising regularly, even if it's just like going for walks and being an active person, taking your prenatal if you can. It's not a necessity. Obviously, actually the first time I was pregnant, I did not take a prenatal, but it is really important. And then obviously eating a healthy diet. But other things that we did with my last pregnancy is after intercourse, they say, it's kind of like, I don't know if it's a wives' tale, but they say that you're supposed to put your legs up on the wall and put a pillow like under your butt area, to where you make sure that all of the semen kind of like goes into your system, which I know is like so cringy, but you want to do that because you want to make sure it doesn't, you know, release out and basically wipe it away. So that's really important. I can see how that is a huge factor for some people, but other people seem to get pregnant and they don't do that at all. I did not do that with this pregnancy, and I think it's honestly more about timing and being healthy than anything. The next thing, which is I feel like a huge contributing factor, and this is something that I feel like a lot of women don't focus on, and it's so important, and that is decreasing stress. So I know this is kind of like one of those fluffier like tips, but it's really hard to get pregnant when you're stressed because of multiple reasons. So first off, if you're stressed, it's going to make it harder to want to relax and let go, to actually do the deed. So you want to make sure you're in a happy place in your life where you feel the urge to actually want to do those things, because that's obviously love and doing all those things create babies. So you want to make sure that you decrease your stress levels by obviously maybe introducing some more endorphins in your life by exercising, or just figuring out how you can do that overall with your day-to-day life. So I know personally that every single time I have conceived, it has been the least stressed time in my life. So I think there's no coincidence there, and that definitely plays a factor into it. And my last tip is just to kind of relax. I mean, this is obviously with the decreased stress tip, but just to kind of relax and let things happen. I think a lot of times, especially when I talk to close friends, they try and get pregnant their first month and they put so much pressure on themselves. They're already downloading like the Ovulation app, and they're already, you know, buying those test strips or whatever they're called, and they are tracking everything, and they're worried about things, and they're already, you know, seeing the doctor, which I think is totally fine. If you are nervous about anything, talking to a doctor is great advice. But overall, I think you should just have fun and let things happen as they may, and that's just what we have done in the past, obviously, and it seems to be working out. So, but honestly, timing is everything. You can't be doing that forever. So those are my tips. Definitely go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you are new. Like this video if you got any value from it, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.